Welcome. This presentation will provide some overview on zend framework, just some introductory topics and some introduction to zend framework. So this is Said. So let's see. So what is zend framework? I think it is a framework. I think model view controller framework. It's on the PHP platform to develop web applications and web services. So zend framework, it's 100% object-oriented programming based, and also it is PHP 5 based. It uses model view controller architecture, and zend is also component based. There are many independent components in zend. You can use them almost independently, and these components are to provide different kind of features and functions. However, I think these components are very loosely coupled. I think they are not dependent on other too tightly, but in some cases they are dependent to some extent, but very lightly and very loosely. So we can make use of these components together, and we can make a very powerful and extensible framework using in zend. So some of the features of zend are they have a database abstraction layer, zend-DB, and zend forms. It's just kind of HTML form rendering with some built-in validation and filtering methods and options. Zend authentication and zend ACL, they provide user authentication and user authorization related features, functions, whatever you say. So anyway, so to demonstrate the application zend framework, we'll just create a sample application. I think there are, we can say there are 5 steps here, but I will just discuss the first 2, and for the rest 3 I will create another videos very soon. So first zend framework and MVC introduction, then we will create the project, then we will talk about the layout, and then about model and the database, and how to make a database based application, simple applications. Maybe we will demonstrate a zend application that will grab some data from the database and display it on the web page. Okay, create a form. We'll see when time comes. So I think this is again the zend framework and MVC. As we told, zend itself contains many different types of components. However, zend has a core MVC framework that provides some MVC related components, and to create MVC based web applications you have to make use of those components. So you can see that some MVC and associated components are zend controller. I think there will be zend model, zend view, zend view, zend model, zend controller, and then zend layout, zend config, zend-DB, zend-DB table, zend registry. I think this provides this layout, config, DB. I think they provide some supporting components to implement MVC, and they come as part of the zend framework itself. So what is MVC architecture? You know that it's a model view controller architecture. I think model, it contains the logic of the application, business logic. View, it the presentation layer that the user sees, the user interface, and controller, it controls the user requests and where to send it, how to go to the view page or something like this. So you can see when a request comes, the controller handles it. It can provide security, filtering. I think it depends on the language or anything. Okay, some sort of mapping, internal URL and external URL mapping, those kind of stuff. And based on the request, if it needs to implement some sort of business logic, it calls some model related functions or methods, then those business logic are implemented, and the control is again goes back to the controller, and then controller sends any output if required from this model to view to generate the presentation layer, and those things are wrapped up in HTML, XML or JSON and XHTML. Those are sent back to the user. So how to create your project? First of all, you need the Zend framework. You can get it in two ways. You can just install the Zend server. You can go to this URL and you can download it and install it, or you can download only the Zend framework and extract it. Both will do the work. Okay, I think I can show you. I think I downloaded the Zend server and I installed it. It's just Windows platform, so installation is very easy. You can just run the setup file, and after installing, I think it creates all this stuff. And let's say in Zend server, I think I'm going to find the Zend framework itself. Okay, share, and then Zend framework. So this is the Zend framework, and okay. Another thing is, when you install this Zend server, it is installing the Apache, MySQL, PHP, MyAdmin, all those things. But you may be able to customize those, select options. I think one of the tools that you need to get familiar with is ZDF tool. I think it also gets installed, and the path is all automatically added in the Windows environment variables. It helps, I think, to create the application, the project, to create those views or layouts. It helps, and it also can create a database from some configuration files. I think it's a very handy tool. You will be using it. I think it can create those controller related file or view related file from one command, so it makes your life easier, because you don't have to do many of the stuff manually, but it will create, I think for some commands it creates multiple things in multiple places, and also updates the configuration files, so it does some necessary stuff altogether without any error. So it becomes handy. I think you will see. I think at this moment it may not be clear, but when you use it, you will know. For example, let's say you want to create a project, a Zend framework related project. What you have to do? You have to go to the place where you want to create that project and run this command. I think you don't need this percentage. I think ZDF create project quick start. So it will create that a project named quick start, and this total basic structure of the project will be automatically created. You don't need to manually create this structure. So in my case, I created the application under Apache htdocs, because the applications are hosted there in Apache, in my case default. Okay, so I think in Windows command prompt, I went to the place where I wanted to create the project, and then I just copied this line and ran it from in the command prompt. It created this structure. I think ZDF create project quick start, so it creates that quick start project. I think all these files is automatically created. All those folders and files are automatically created by this command line tool. I think as you can see the structure here, yeah, it will be the same structure. This application, it contains all the important application files. Bootstrap.php, I think it loads the resources required by the application. You need to define it, how to load and what to load, but this is where the resource loading is done. It is done in the beginning of the application. Configs, we provide different sorts of configs, application related, database related, all those things. Also there will be some command, zdef related command that can also update this application configuration file automatically, the associated stuff. Controllers, these are the controllers. You can see by default error controller, index controller, these are the two basic controllers. It is automatically created. Models, by default there is no model, but by default there are some views. We can see scripts, error views. This is the default error related view, and this is the default web page view. So these views, these are related to controllers. I think you can see there are two controllers, error controller, index controller. That's why it has two folder, error and index, and the corresponding view files. I think when you create some sort of, I think zdef create project command creates this all, so you don't need to worry about it. I think when you create controllers using zdef, it will also create this corresponding views. Library, third-party library or built-in library, public. I think this is exactly when you try to run this quick start project. I think this file will get executed first. These are some tests. I think you can write some sort of tests for the code, for your code, for the application, and you can keep this test file there. Then whenever you change something, you can run these tests and you will know that whether your application is still okay or not. So you write the test once and then you execute whenever you need to make sure that nothing got corrupted in between. So the application that we are trying to develop, let's say, I think it will look like this. It's the quick start local, the port 8080. I think the quick start local is the default application. We did not modify actually anything. I think nothing I did modify. It is the first application or the zdef application. I think zdef create project, it creates. It is the output of that particular project, and this is the view file as you saw in the presentation. I think this index.php, this is the view the web page is showing. Though when you try to access this quick start application, the control first comes to index.php. It actually sets the application related parameters and some other parameters. Okay, I will explain to some extent, but you will need to play around so that you understand everything. So this is the view. Then I can show you the folder structure, application, this config. So if you try to see the configuration file, so this is the basic configuration file. It is telling what is the layout of the application, and the application path and those things, and whether to display it or not, where are the application path, where are the controller directory, all those things. And these are the by default configuration. I did not change anything. Controllers, this is the main controller. I think when you try to the default controller execute this application, it comes here. I think in my application it is just directly coming here in the controlling from the user's request. It comes to this controller and there is nothing empty, and if there is any error happens, then the controller will come here, and based on this the controller will try to show some sort of output messages. Layouts, I think we did not make use of layouts in this example, but by default the zdef command creates some sort of layout. What you can say, I think layout and views. I think layouts is the overall layout of the view, the web page that you see, and view is actually embedded into the layout. Actually in Zend there are three concepts: wrappers, layouts, and views. So layouts are embedded into wrappers and views are embedded into layouts. I think we will see in our next training video. Models, by default there is no models. So this scripts, as we saw, this is the view page. You can see it will match. This is your project's main page. I think if you see the welcome to the Zend, this is your project's main page. So this is the file. Okay, let's see. We need to see that public file. I think when we load the application in the Firefox, the control comes here first, and then it sets all the parameters. Then based on the controller and view, it goes to the right view as set up from here to controller to view. So it is defining application environment, defining the library folder, and what is the application folder and those things. Yeah, you will know once you start to use it. I think these are some of the important stuff. Okay, let's see what is in front. So as you told, the bootstrap.php, as you saw, I think in the application root, this is the class where we load all the resources as required by our application. At this moment, nothing much, and we can see a tiling in application controllers. The controllers are loaded there. This is the configuration file that we already saw. So we can set different parameters there, and these are defining, I think, the development platform or production platform, those type of stuff. We will make use of that. I think in the second training video you will get more clear on that. Okay, these are the actions, the controller related actions. This is the error controller, and there are the index controller, error controller. That's fine. So this is the views. Views are written in old PHP. Views are placed in application views scripts, and there can be subdirectories under scripts like index and error. It depends on the controllers that we have. So inside these subdirectories, there are the views file as you see, PHTML, error. Okay. Another thing is, I think to access these pages, you also need to configure Apache to some extent. One of the good approach or best approach is creating some sort of virtual host for each of your application. I think if it's a big application, you want all the applications separate, maybe you can create virtual host for each of the individual application, individual URL, and maybe you can rename it, you can name it exactly or very similar to what it will be in finally. Anyway, so in Apache you have to create this virtual host. Let's say we are creating this quick start.local. That's why we are using quick start.local, but the port is 8080. It was defined when I was installed the Apache. Anyway, so I think to create those virtual host, you have to give the server name. This will be the URL, and you have to show where the application is located. In our case, it is in htdocs quick start. I think there are two applications, quick start and quick start layout. So quick start, I think this application deals with the database and the layout thing. I will create another training video on that. So I think we are just setting this. I think when we will access this application through that URL or Firefox browser, so this will take the development application environment, development related settings as you said in the configuration file. Okay, document and directory, and this is some permission related stuff, who can access this stuff or not. So in our case this should be 8080 because the port is 8080, and this is it indicates the IP address. I think if you are hosting the sites and the Apache in the same server, you can use the 127.0.0.1. Yeah, okay. So I think I can show you the how to configure and where to configure those vhosts thing. So let's see. As you have installed Gen server, so Apache 2, it also gets installed, and then this is the configuration file. I think in configuration file, this is the main configuration file. I think it also includes some configuration files from the extra, and you can see there will be some virtual host related configuration file. Let's see http host.configuration. Here the virtual host configuration will take place, so we'll make use this file as well. Okay, I think the main thing that we need to do here, I think listen 8080 it will be automatically there, but we need to configure the include path for this extra and vhosts.config. Somewhere I did it. I think this is the here virtual host. I think it was something like this. I just removed it so that I can define it in the another file, but you can also define it in the same file, but it will make things not organized. So go to extra and then vhosts. Okay, so this is the one that we are using, quick start local document root. We can say stdocs quick start. We are referring to the public as you told. It is the same thing, development, and I use the IP address and the port. Then this is for the another application quick start layout. We'll see it when it's time. Okay, and another thing is you also need to update your hosts file so that this quickstart.local or quickstart-layout.local, this name and the IP address are mapped, because this is our given name, but which IP address it will point to. So this is where it will point to. So you need to update it in terms of Windows. This is the place etc, and there will be some hosts file, a file called hosts. You have to update this. I think in Linux, Windows, you will have some etc hosts file. There you have to update this. Now you can open up your Firefox and use this URL as defined in the virtual host. This is also required, and you will see the welcome page. I think it will go to the default view page and load the default view. I think it all happens from the public related, the index file public, the configuration settings, then it goes to the controller, and from that controller it ultimately goes to the views. Anyway, so this is the references where I collected this information from. I think I will discuss in the next training video. It is about the layout. I think the concept of wrapper and layout and view, those concepts. Anyway, I hope you will have fun. And what can I do? Maybe I can show you the little bit more on the structure, or maybe some introduction to my second training video, but there will be another second video, so that I will explain it more. At this moment I can just show some strategies. I think it's the same structure, but I think there will be some sort of models here. In the previous application we did not have any models. I think some of the stuff and some of the code are auto-generated by this ZF related ZF command. Yeah, I think the application is called guestbook. So this is one of the model. Yeah, we will see what these guys do. Now controllers, it will be the almost same thing. Views, scripts, I think this will be our customized view. I think before dealing that, maybe I need to show you the application how it will look like. I think this will be the user interface for the second application. It actually brings some guest data from the database. We also created some sort of database here. You can see guest book. The information is going from this database to there, and you can see there are multiple database: guest book development, guest book testing. We can set multiple databases for multiple purposes: development, production, testing. So I think the configuration file can handle this. I think which database will be loaded for which purpose. I can show you the configuration file. Actually I manually wrote this, but I think the zdf command, with the zdf command you can also mention the adapter pdo mysql and the corresponding parameters, this database name, hostname, username, password. In that case, that command can automatically update this application.ini file, but I wrote it myself here manually. I think either way it will work. You need to know both ways, writing the zdf command or creating on your own. So you can see the adapter pdo mysql localhost. It is for production, development. I think this is the testing, this is the development, this is the default one, and the production one. Okay, what else do I need to show? Okay, I think that's primarily it. I think I will also make use of layouts here. So this is the layout of the guest application. I think it is our customized code, so that it makes it look like this. Anyway, I hope that you will get some help from this training video. It's primarily intended to the beginners. Anyway, have fun. Good luck.